Hey there, I would like to talk to you about a cool score editing program called MuseScore. I was first exposed to this program by Professor Nicola Radon at University of Arkansas, and I have found this program to be absolutely delightful, and it is 100% free. You can get it from their website, and it is extremely powerful. I will only scratch the surface of the features of this program. But in part one, I want to cover basic staff creation and instrument assignment, key and time signature assignment, note creation and correction, and ties. And then I'll probably try to separate the other videos, some other videos, into part 2 and 3 because it tends to run on and get kind of long at that point if you don't separate these things out. You can get MuseScore. This is the score right here that we want to create for this demo. You can see it has dynamics, lyrics, key signature, accidentals. I made a boo-boo there. That's actually the key of D major. It's supposed to be D major. I did G major there on accident. You see that C sharp there. And the cool thing about this is it's so inexpensive because if you go over here and you look at, say, Siblius, they want a 1 year, I'm not sure if I pronounced that correct, but a 1 year subscription for $100. Okay, and then if you go to, I think it's Dorico from Steinberg, you're looking at $579. That's really nice. Now, you can get student discounts. I'm not going to go into that right now, but it's pretty pricey. And then if you go into, say, Finale, these are kind of the prices you're looking at. $600 for a professional. I'm not sure what they mean by theological license, but, it'd be really cool to find out. And then university student, I'm not sure about that. I guess you'd have to, I don't know if after you graduate, can you still use it? I suppose so, but, I'm naturally suspicious of academic licenses since I've already graduated. My degree program was actually in computer science. I do not have a degree in music. I'd like to get a degree in music, but we'll just have to see how that works out if time ever allows. So those are the prices that we're looking at. Now, if we could find somewhere, this is the place where you would go to download the program. This website right here, all major platforms, Windows, Mac, and Linux. You can actually get it in Linux in an RPM on most distributions, which is easier to install in some ways than the app image. It gives you better file associations and things, but if you need the absolute latest version, you should get the app image. I ran into some problems trying to communicate with Professor Radon at University of Arkansas because I was using an older version from an a Debian package, which is the same as an RPM basically, and it's similar. And when I transferred the files to him, things got kind of whacked out, just not right. And so I was able to use the app image, which is self-contained, and all you have to do is change some executable permissions, and then you can get the latest version that way without having to worry about backports and things of that nature. So when you create a new score, when you try to create a new score in MuseScore, this is the first thing that's going to come up. A title, subtitle, composer, lyricist, copyright. You would put your information in here. We're not going to use that because, personally, I think it winds up causing problems later on down the line. So I'm just going to skip this and click Next. Now, we would like to, first thing, it would like you to choose the instruments. If I can find, where was that? I don't know where it is. I'm going to need it here in a minute. Well, we can close this and this. We can close all that. We don't need any of that anymore. But I need to find where is that score? I had it up. Oh, here it is. Right. Sorry, my bad. We don't need that right now, but basically what you'll see is there is soprano, flute, and harp. Okay? Those are the three parts. It's helpful to know that ahead of time. If you don't specify that, and you later on need instruments, you can add them later, but it's just easier to put it in at the beginning. So we're going to pick the choose instruments option instead of choosing these templates, which are, this SATB might be kind of helpful if you were going to do a hymn, maybe, perhaps. although I think it might blow things up and expand them a little bit more than the compact hymn format. So if we're going to choose instruments, and we're going to click next. We need a flute. So a flute would be under, let's see, I don't know, woodwind somewhere. Where's woodwinds? Woodwinds right there, flute. We'll click add to score. And then the next thing we'd want is a soprano, or actually it was a mezzo soprano, and I don't know, this is an older score. I've got the wrong one on there. That's the one with some bugs. Need to find mezzo soprano somewhere. Where's vocals? Mezzo soprano. It makes no difference to MuseScore whether you use mezzo soprano, mezzo soprano, or soprano. But I just felt that later on, after reviewing the piece, that a mezzo soprano might be a little bit more appropriate, somewhere in between soprano and alto. I didn't really think alto was quite it. I didn't think, soprano was quite right. And, a bass could even sing this. It's pretty simple, but a woman's voice would be more suitable. Like one of my daughters would really work out, and it'd be nice if I could have them on this conversation with me. But if we go, it'd be a lot more entertaining, that's for sure. And if we go down to strings, plucked, right, we're going to look for harp. Click add to score. Okay, these are not in the order I want. I want soprano, mezzo soprano up top, so we're going to click on it and click on this up arrow. Then on harp, we're going to click on that and click on the down arrow. See how we got those organized? It's easier to get it done right here than later. So we'll click on next. Key signature. I accidentally picked G major. Well, actually it's D major, because the point was I was trying to write something that would fit on some conventional, traditional Irish instruments, and a lot of Irish flutes tend to be keyed to the key of D, and some harp music is too as well. So for Irish Celtic harp, so we're going to pick D major, D major, and we're going to click next. Time signature, well, it's 6/8 in this case, so we're going to pick 6/8, and then pickup measure, we're not going to need that, and number of measures. If you know the number of measures in advance like we do, it's usually better probably to put it in right now, but it's not a big deal if you don't know. If you just want to explore, you can just pick the default. And honestly, that's the way I would have preferred to start this video out, is exploring, but I found that I just rambled even more than I do normally if I'm sitting here just picking notes out. So I went ahead and created the piece, even though it's not that complex and it's very simple, very baby music and all that kind of stuff. But I really created it so I'll have somewhere to start from, so we don't sit here and wander around a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and click on finish. Voila, we automatically get this nice laid out score. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go and enter into the note editing mode. You need to make sure that you pay attention to whether you're in enter note mode or whether you're in selection mode. Okay, the N key, as it says, will take you in and out of that. Okay, if you get confused as to what mode you're in, you're going to mess up your score slightly, and you'll just hit Control-Z to backtrack and go back where you were, and then you'll go back and put yourself in the right mode. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to pick eighth notes. Okay, so we're going to start with the harp piece, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put the monitoring headphones on real quick so I can kind of hear this. And we're going to go start entering the notes. And I think we got, what is it, a DFA and then a D, DFAD, something like that. Okay, so, and you can hear the sound. Whoops, my bad. See, I already messed up. You can hear the notes or the sounds coming through as MuseScore renders them with their sound font banks. And these are some really nice sound font banks, quite honestly, considering that they're free. I have some more expensive packages that I bought long ago when I had more money or whatever the case may be, and I still have them around, and they're good packages. But these sound font banks are free, and they rival some of those other packages. So now we're in note entering mode. We need to make a correction. We can't make that correction while we're in note entering mode. So we're going to press the N key, and we're going to exit out of note entering mode. We're going to select that note, and then we're going to drag it up to the A where it's supposed to be. So we'll have a proper triad. And then we're going to go back into note entering mode, and we're still on the eighth note, and then we're going to go to the octave above. We're going to hit that whatever that note is. See, I'm really a little bit lacking on my music skills, and then we're going to go back down. Right. Okay. So what do we got? We made another mistake. See, that was not, if you look at the score here, that was supposed to be an A, and what did I enter? A B. So we're going to go into note entering mode again. We're going to click on that note. We're going to drag it down and let go. Okay. Now, we want to duplicate that several times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, I think. Okay. Yes. I think it's 5 times. So we're gonna click on the first note. We're gonna hold down the Shift key, and then we're gonna click on the last note, and it selects the entire measure or that sequence of notes. Then we're gonna hit Control C on a Windows machine and Command C, I think it is on a Mac, and then we're gonna click on the next measure and hit Control V or Command V and paste. And we're gonna do this 5 times. I think it is 1, 2, 3, 4. I've already lost track. 5. 4 more times because we only needed 5. Right? Okay, I think that's... No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need it 5 times, whatever. So 1, 2, 3, click on the rest, 4, 5. Okay, so we got 5 measures of this DFA chord. I know this is very simple baby music, but that's just the way it is. Now, we want to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we don't need a system break yet, but that's something we need to keep in mind to keep these things aligned right. We're going to go to the next chord, and that's going to be done 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times instead of 5. So what we're going to do is we're going to select 4 of these measures, and then we're going to paste them, and then we're going to drag them down to the correct note, which was, what was that again? I don't remember. I think it was a B, okay? All right, we're going to copy this 4 times. Click on the first note, hold down the Shift key, and click on the last note. We have now selected 4 measures. We're going to hit Control C to copy. We're going to click on the next measure we want to drop them in, and we're going to hit Control V to paste. Now, after we paste it, we're going to drag them down to the B. We just drag them down. Click on the note and drag it down and let go. Okay, and there we go. We got our next sequence. And then we would do the same thing for, we would do that for this next chord, which goes all the way into this pattern right here. Now, I don't know if we really want to get into all that because it's going to take a while, but you get the idea. We're just going to click on the first note, click on the last note, select it, copy and paste it and drag it down. Now, some other things we need to do here, I'll enter those offline or come back later or speed the process up. But some things we need to think about here are the chords for the harp, okay? So we're going to start with the chords. We're going to do a DFA chord here to match the DFA on the bottom. So we're going to go back into note entering mode, and we're going to click on the dotted quarter note, and we click on the dot. Now we have a dotted quarter note. So if you happen to have a keyboard, you can speed this up. You can enter these chords with your keyboard. I do not have a keyboard hooked up right now, and my piano skills are a little bit lacking. I mean, I can play piano if I memorize a piece. I can do it fine, but I have to practice a lot on that particular piece and memorize it. I'm not at the point where I just sit down and just play notes on demand. I really wish I could. I need to learn some jazz chords because that's where it's really at. But let's get beyond that, and then we'll just cut D, A, and apparently now you might be hearing some buzz there. That is not MuseScore. That's probably an artifact of the way I'm recording this. I'm using Jack to forward the audio signals from MuseScore into Cubase, and probably right here in the play panel, I probably got the volume turned up too high. Now to get to the play panel, you would go to View and Play Panel, and I had that up. I turned that up a bit so that Cubase would pick that up. Now maybe if I turn this down just a wee bit, maybe it'll get rid of some of that nasty buzz, but then the volume will be a little bit lower. So anyways, we're going to go back to what we were doing. We're going to do DFA, and then we're going to do it DFB. I don't know why I chose that. That's just what I chose. Yeah, I'm still getting that buzzing sound. I don't know where it's coming from. And then let's try lowering that just a little even more. Let's drop it way down and see what happens. Now we're gonna go over to DFA again. Yeah, I think I'm getting less saturation. I'm not getting as much clipping, so I think I'm good there. I'd like to turn it up a bit, but I don't want to. Let's turn it up. I don't want to go crazy. I don't want to mess things up. So that's how we would enter the chords there, okay? And you don't need to see me do all that. There's no real reason for that. But there is something interesting in the soprano part. There's a tie right there that we need to get to. And these accidentals, well, they're just that. They're accidental. But if you wanted to do an accidental, you just click on the accidental. Whoops, my bad. See, well, you can have the note selected already, and then you can click on the accidental and put it there. Or, now I'm going to Control Z to get rid of that. Or you can drag the accidental. Well, no, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. So normally what I would do is I'd go out of note entering mode, and then I would select the note like that, and then I would click on the accidental. See that? But we don't want that. So if you want accidentals, that's how you would get them. You'd get them in this palettes. Now, if this palettes thing, this palettes palette or whatever it is, it disappears, you'd go to View and Palettes. You see that? Sometimes you accidentally will get rid of it and not know it. And so you need to go up here to View and then Palettes, or in this case F9. But if you're like me, you're not going to memorize that keystroke. So View and Palettes. Okay, so I'm not gonna enter all those notes right now because that's just gonna be a waste of your time. And so what we need to do is we're gonna go up to the next part. We're gonna go to the flute. Okay, we're just gonna start on that, and we're gonna do. We got dotted quarter notes. Dotted quarter note for the flute. A D and an A and a D. Okay, and that accidental is bogus. So we're gonna go over here to the flute. We got to go back into note entering mode. So we're gonna click on this or press N. And then we're going to go up to the flute part. And then we're going to go D, A, whoops, exit out of note entering mode and drag that back down to the A. Go back into note entering mode by pressing N, click on the D, and then we're going to click on the C. And this is a C sharp, so there's no need for that accidental because I'm in D major. My bad. All right, and then there we go. Okay, so that's kind of what that part of the flute looks like, okay? And that is going to keep going. But, oh, goodness. I would need to come back to that part because, yeah, we're going to have to go ahead and enter these so we can get the context because otherwise I'm going to be putting it in a random location. But, well, we're just not going to... Let's see, tie. Oh, my goodness. I don't see what I'm looking for. No. Well, normally to enter a tie, let's see. Let's get out of note entering mode, my goodness. To do a slur, you click on the first note, click on the next note, and then click S, right? And that behaves fairly like a tie, I think in many cases as far as MuseScore is concerned. Whoops, Control Z. So we're going to go back into no entering mode. I'm just going to show you how to enter a tie real quick because I don't want to sit here and enter all these notes. Right, okay. So there we got that. It's just going to take too long. Click on the first note, next note, and then I think it's Shift Plus. Yeah, that's a tie. Shift Plus is a tie, and S is a slur. Got it? Okay. I don't know how to get to those any other way. That's just one of the things that I happen to memorize in MuseScore, something that you're going to want to remember probably. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and enter all these other notes. Oh, yeah, 16th notes. Ooh, yeah. That's easy to do, but the problem is I'm not at the point to where I can enter it. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to enter and fill out some of this stuff, and then I'm going to go back and show you how to put in the 16th notes after I got things a little bit better aligned maybe. One thing that needs to be talked about, though, before I go to that point is we need to talk about system breaks. Here, we've got up here on the mezzo-soprano, we got... That is so messed up. That is not... We don't need that tie right now. Actually, maybe it would be a good nice to have a slur there, but I don't. Right. Okay, right here, there should be a system break, but it's already breaking there, so we're not going to worry about it. Then we got the flute. We got a dotted half, F. Let's get rid of this. Dotted half here. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what I just did. I probably did something very bad because I wasn't in note entering mode, but we'll just have to find that out later. F, F, then dotted quarter note. You can see this it's right here. I was pointing with my finger, but you're not going to be able to see my finger. And then F. I'm trying to show you what happens when you get to and then a dotted quarter note again. I got that, right? Okay, and then we go to another dotted quarter note on an E and a D. Oh, this is so messed up. Dotted quarter note on an E and a D. Okay, see, that's where we're getting the problem here. It's just going on and on and on and on and on and on. We don't want that. E, A. Whoa, my bad. I was somewhere I didn't get on the right. Okay, yeah, that looks about right. And then excuse me. Oh my goodness. Did you hear that? Did the microphone pick that up? At least it didn't pick up other forms of gas. It picked up gas, but a polite form of gas. Is burping a polite form of gas? I can burp on here if you want, or I used to be able to burp when I was a kid. And you know what? I did it so much, I think my Adam's apple is like overinflated now. So, if you have boy children and they like to make burping sounds a lot on purpose, tell them to not do that because there's some, well, you don't want to say there's some strange guy on YouTube saying you should not make burping noises as a teenager to your children. But okay, that sounded bad. But you don't want your kids doing that because seriously, their Adam's apple may become enlarged, and they don't want to live with that. It's a very ugly thing, and they do not want those consequences. So, where in the world am I? I can't even see where I am. This is getting lost here. I need 2 monitors. Why did I have system monitor open? I shouldn't have that open. This is like some serious rambling going on. This is why you got to keep these system breaks in line. So right here is where I want the system break. After this first, this dot, we got dotted quarter, and then that right here is where I need a system break. So we're going to go to breaks and spaces, and we're going to find system break right here, this arrow. So we're going to drag this up here into the measure we want it at, and there. That makes the score much easier to manage, and your eyes don't go freaking out when you're trying to enter music that's already created. Now, if you're doing this on the fly, it's not so bad. You know, I mean, it can sometimes, you already know where you're going. But if you're, you've already got something printed and you're trying to replicate it, you're going to go nuts if you don't put those system breaks in the right places. You know, another thing is page breaks. We need page breaks also. So there's right there. That's a dotted quarter. I need to get to the point of the page break. Let's see. There's the dotted half note. Dotted. Whoa. See, I made a big mess. Yeah, that's, when I was in note entering mode, I completely, no, that's the flute. And then, yep, that's right. And then we get a dotted quarter. We need a dotted quarter here, right here. And then we got some eighth notes, sort of a kind of a triplet-like kind of thingy, but not really a triplet. But you can see how it's trying to make harp sounds there. And then we're not even going to, I guess we're already at the 16th note part, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And that's another triple sequence. Not really, but maybe my music terminology is not quite correct. And then you can see all you have to do is click on the 16th notes to start that. And actually, triplets are another thing in MuseScore, and I'm not going to get into that in this particular series, but they are pretty tricky to enter in MuseScore. It involves selecting the correct note duration to begin with, and then entering the number of divisions that you want that to be. I think it's Alt in the key, but I'm not sure. So then we go back to a dotted quarter. And then another dotted quarter. Okay, and then, but here's one thing we need to see here is, now you don't need to see me enter those notes again. Okay, because you've already seen me enter those 16th notes. In fact, they may be, one of those patterns may be identical, like this one right here, it is. It's two of that. So, you don't have to see me do that, but to cheat, you're just going to click on the first note, last note, copy, click on the rest, Control V, whoops, click on that rest, Control V. Now, but what I needed to tell you is we need to have a page break here. Now, we wouldn't have known that we wouldn't have known that if we were doing this on the fly, but I happen to know that this is one of the most optimal formats for this particular piece right here. So I know that putting a page break right there is going to work. Now, with your stuff, you may come up with better options, but in my case, this is what I needed. So we're going to look for a page break, and we're going to drag it right up here, okay? And then we got a page break, okay? And so that's going to make everything else so much easier. You don't really need to see me go through the rest of this because you've already seen the basics here. One thing I might point out is if you ever do have to do like multi-timbral, that's not what I meant. If you have to, when I'm entering chords, this chord is considered one voice. Okay? But if I were to have two different lines of polyphony on the same mini staff or whatever, on the same line, two different sections of polyphony, like I'd have two quarter notes, and then I'd have another sequence in like piano of like a sequence of 4/8 notes. I'll just show you that. Well, then I'm going to run into problems because MuseScore is going to get confused because it's going to think I'm trying to enter a chord. Okay, and that's where voices come into play. These 1, 2, 3, 4 voices buttons. Okay, so I'm just going to show that real briefly here. In our case, though, what we have is we need to go back into note entering mode before I blow up the piece again. See, I blew it up. You see what I did? I clicked on this quarter note while I was in note entering while I was in selection mode, and it changed that dotted eighth note over to a single quarter note. That's one of the things you've got to watch out for. And if you do that, you can just hit Control Z to get out of it. Or I could press this dot again. But we're going to press Control Z. And remember, we got to go back into note entering mode. Now I'm just going to show you what's going to happen if I try to enter two different lines of thought on the same, whatever this thing is called. Sorry for my music terminology. One line of thought is two dotted quarter notes. The other line of thought is going to be eighth notes. We're going to have 3 for each, so that's going to be 6. And it's going to freak out. MuseScore is going to go nuts. See that? We don't want that. That's not at all what we want. So, we're in voice 1 now. If you're going to do a hymn out of a hymnal, well, you don't want to ever duplicate copyrighted music, but if you're going to do a hymn where you have multiple lines of thought on the same deal, or you're doing piano music, you need to change over to the other voice when it's on the same line. So we're going to go to voice 2, and we're going to go 1, 2. Something's not right. Oh, yeah, it is. It's cool. It's not freaking out. The only thing here is it's putting the staffs upside down for some reason. See, and MuseScore is perfectly happy. Now, it did freak out, so we're going to press N to get out of note entering mode. We're going to select all these notes on the second voice. We're going to go to F8, something that's not real obvious in MuseScore. We're going to press F8, and that's going to bring up the, well, I didn't want the mixer. Let's try that again. Let's try F8 one more time. Maybe I pressed the wrong key. Can't see because the mic's in the way. Sorry. All right. Okay. Element group. Nope. Something's not right. Inspector. I've got the inspector up. I don't want the mixer. I don't want the play panel. Let's try this one more time. Nope. Something's definitely not right here. Well, it happened that time. So somewhere around here I have the staff direction. Fixed align, head group, head scream, note, small, head scheme, head type, mirror head, play, fixed align, tuning, velocity. I'm not seeing it. I am not seeing it, and that's really... Oh, stem direction, auto. We want up, right? Okay. And it's not doing what I'm thinking it's supposed to do. It should have went up. Why? This is so stupid. Something's jacked up here. And this is not normal behavior. Come on now. Come on. Set visible, enable, auto place. I'm probably going to have to cut out here because this is just ridiculous. Here we go. We clicked a single note, and then we're going to play. And we're looking for stem direction up. And it's not stem direction up. Okay, I apparently have to do it for all of them, but I don't know why it won't let me do it. I don't know why it won't let me select all of them at once and do it. So we'll up. Okay, you see that? Just the point here is that what you need to do, the point here is, my bad. The point here is what you need to do is you need to go to these different voices or you're going to run into a mess there, okay? When you enter different rhythms on the same line. Okay, if you have separate lines, it's okay, or you have the same rhythm, which is chord, you're not going to run into that problem. But that's where the voices come into. So, and this, and one other thing I need to do is I need to add a tempo marking. So, view palette. See, somehow I got rid of palette, so I have to go view palettes. Because if I hit play right now, it's going to go real fast. Okay, that's not quite what this is supposed to sound like, but anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and put the tempo marking, more, and we're going to go right here on this first note, and we're going to go to tempo, and we're going to go more, and then we're going to go to, I think it was Adagio that I picked last time. I hope. All right, let's see how fast that is. Click on it. Yeah, that's about the right speed. Okay, and so I'll come back to this later. But that's, I'm going to cut out. I'm going to try to add the other notes, and I'll come back. All right, well, I'll see you a little bit later on this. Okay, so my audio interface flipped out in the middle of the second half of the recording. I have no idea why. I don't think it's jack related. I think it was a hardware thing, and I don't know if it's a mic or the interface itself, but it's kind of buggy. So at some point, I'm going to have to switch to voiceover and redo the voice for the recording. Okay, so I've gotten most of those extra notes in. Those redundant notes in. And now all I want to do is I want to wrap up by trying to cover the notes that were not necessarily talked about earlier. And I made a mistake here. When we put in that page break, we put it in at the wrong location because as you can see now I've got 3 pages and that's not really the intent. And we got this wacko wandering page here. The page break apparently should have been on this measure. So we're going to take this page break right here. We're going to drag it up here and not lock it there. Now we're going to click on this page break and click delete. And now we got 2 pages again. And we're not going to pay attention to these extra measures at the end because we'll need them later when we add the first and second endings. Okay? And right now, I said I wasn't going to talk about repeats, but we need, well, we'll get to that later. if we look here, right here, this sequence right here, that was the flute part. It descends on a DCBA sequence. And then we have a quarter note, eighth note, and a dotted eighth note. Okay? So that's not anything magical, anything real hard to understand, but we're just going to go ahead and cover that. Note enter mode in. We're going to click on the quarter note. We're going to put that right here on the A. And then we're going to go back to an eighth note. And actually, you can change these note durations by pressing certain keys, numbers. See these numbers up here? 5, 6, 5, 4, 3. I don't personally do that, but if you're in a real big hurry, then and you're really skilled at this, then you might want to do that in combination with your music keyboard. I have got an unfortunate setup right now where my music keyboard is. Well, the music keyboard that I'm primarily using is on the right-hand side, which is the same side as my right-hand mouse. So it's just not going to work out. And in addition to the fact that, as I said previously, that my piano playing skills are really questionable. So if I click on, Anyway, so if I click on this quarter note here, and then go to another dotted note, and then we go up to the B. Okay, there we go. Okay, now we got 3 blank measures on the flute part. The reason why is that there? Because actually, if you look at the first of this piece, and we'll get to this later, is that we're going to have this flute part come in on the second time only. That's just to reduce redundancy and make it a tad more variety. If we were doing all this solely in Cubase, not using the score editor, and not using the score editor and just using the piano roll view, we'd probably get even more creative, but we're not going to go there right now. MuseScore has some abilities to allow you to do repeats and things like that, but if you start getting too fancy, then it starts getting a little bit. It can't handle excessively complex jumps. Now, I know some guys that if you go into the MuseScore forums, they can do some really creative things with, I think, named codas, but I'm not going to get into that. That's too complicated with me. I'm going to try to keep it basic. So, this is supposedly just for second time only. And so, they're going to have some blank measures there, and then we're going to have a repeat after the third measure. We're just going to go ahead and throw that repeat in, just to make sure we don't miss it and get confused. For alignments, where's repeats? Do we have repeats over here in the palettes panel? Repeats and jumps. We're putting this in so we don't confuse ourselves. Get misaligned. Because it's easy to get disorientated when you're trying to copy this music over. So that's the first ending. We will not enter this, what's considered a line right now, nor will we enter this line. But we're going to keep this here so that we don't mess up. Now, let's go back to the beginning. We got everything in there except for the vocal part. We will not enter the lyrics right now because that's a little deal of its own. But we're going to go over here, and we got this sequence here, the same sequence that we just entered, basically, the rhythmic sequence. And so we've got a quarter note, and we're going into good note enter mode. We're going to go F, and then it would be handy to be using the keyboard right now. A, because just to switch back and forth, because MuseScore won't let me, I don't think it'll let me go left and right to add the notes in quite so much as the Cubase score editor will. I think this Cubase score editor lets you add eighth notes in positions other than where you currently are, the play sequence. I can put an eighth note on beat 4 in the Cubase score editor if I wanted to, but not so in MuseScore. With that said, the Cubase score editor is not all that friendly in my opinion, and I doubt very seriously that it is as complex as MuseScore. And one really cool thing about MuseScore that I won't get in, I don't want that up with note enter mode. And then we get out of note enter mode, and we need to drag that down. That's the choral part. You see those nice choral sounds? And then we're going to click on a note enter mode. We're going to go back to the quarter note. Oh, we got to go to note enter mode. Otherwise, I was going to change that eighth note. The quarter note, and then dotted. one cool thing about MuseScore is that it has native support for Jack, and Jack is actually normally a GNU Linux program, and I think MuseScore was probably originally written for GNU Linux, but Jack is like seriously powerful, and for whatever reason, Microsoft refuses to support my old audio interface. It's actually an MU1212M, which I got off of eBay a long time ago, back when I had money, and I only didn't get the breakout dock. Fortunately, that's a good thing because it's quite expensive. But had I gotten the breakout dock, it would have been like this massive studio inside the house, you know. But Microsoft and Creative Labs had decided to drop support for it. So after Windows version 10, 1809, Windows 10 version 1809, good luck getting the MU1212M to work in any version of Windows after that without using a bizarre rushing hack that only works half the time and causes other side effects. It does kind of work, but, you know, so now I'm on another audio interface, and guess what? The routing for that new audio interface is not near as good. The DSP chip is not near as good. I mean, it's not anywhere near the same quality of audio interface. And so to get around the problems with the audio interface of looping back MuseScore straight into Cubase so that I can record this audio and that you can hear it with a better quality without me using like patch cables, physical patch cables. I'm sorry I'm getting off the topic. I'm using Jack, a GNU Linux program, and it's a little bit unstable, to be quite frank, but it's working quite fine right now because I've got all the virtual cables set up. I got to get out of there. I think I need to zoom in, seriously, because this is not going the right place. And so we're going to click on this. We're going to go back to Node Enter mode, and then yeah, it's going to take a little bit of while, but I just wanted you to see these notes here. I didn't want you to sit around the whole time for all the other notes, and I don't know how easy it would be to speed this up. Oh, now, see? We got a problem. Right now, it's not entering the system break. And it was earlier, but MuseScore is now helping to auto-format for us, which is good. But we want a system break here because we want to feel that we would improve the readability. And the reason why you're hearing me speak all weird is because I'm sitting here translating what I said before because my audio interface blew up. I said that Jack was working great. Well, I don't think Jack did this, but my mic like died. So now I'm looking at, yeah, all right, I entered the system break, and so now I'm entering the rest of the notes. And so I don't really see that there's any point in going through this right now. So this video is already way too long, so I'm going to try to go ahead and cut out the audio. And I'm going to go ahead and try to fast forward through some of this nonsense because this is just getting stupid. Okay, well, it's about done entering the notes there, and it's about to start playing the piece. So it's going to click on the D note there at the beginning, and it's going to press the play button. And then it's going to play through the piece, and then that'll be about the end of it. But what you were seeing earlier was, and actually I need to cut that voice part out, because that voice part really is kind of crummy. So I'm going through some gyrations over here in the mixer to cut the voice part out in a minute. But what you saw with those Cubase screens, Steinberg, is I was trying to verify that Cubase was first written on the Atari ST. I don't know why I brought up Cubase, but I did. And then Tracker was first, I think, created on the Amiga, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I am pretty sure about the Atari ST thing in Cubase. So Cubase is pretty old, but it doesn't have the greatest score editor. And I just talked over that flute part, which is really bad. But I did. So here it is, going through the end of the piece. I can't believe this is so broken. I had so many technical difficulties. I need a cow on the screen, but I don't know how to draw a cow. I don't want to go get somebody else's cow, so I'll just move for you. It's repeating. Well, maybe I won't move for you because it's about done now. So that's really about it. There's not really anything else to say. I'll leave you with a parting moo, and that will be the goodbye. I'm sorry about this. It's just jacked up. And yes, I am using jack.